relative humidity of the air, its moisture content is always changing. Therefore, its dimensions are also changing. This is the reason doors and drawers often stick during humid weather. Ideally, a wood structure should be framed with lumber at an MC equal to that of the environment it is located in. This is not practical. Lumber with such a low moisture content is seldom available and would likely gain moisture during construction. Standard practice is to use lumber with moisture content in the range of 15 to 19% in heated structures. It will eventually reach a level of about 8%. However, this will vary in different geographical areas. And so based on a map of the United States, there's different percentages that you will encounter in structures. Carpenters understand that shrinkage is inevitable. They make allowances where needed to reduce the effects of shrinkage. The first, and by far the greatest challenge in moisture content, occurs during the first year after construction, particularly during the first heating season. When quote-unquote green lumber, that is in parentheses, lumber that has more than 20% MC, is used, shrinkage will be excessive. Warping, plaster cracks, and nail pops, squeaky floors, and other difficulties are almost impossible to prevent. To touch on that specifically, you should use lumber that is dry, or you will have a change in size and shape of the lumber. So to avoid problems later on, make sure you use the proper lumber to begin with. Dried lumber might actually cost you a little bit more, but in the long run, your construction project will be much better. Seasoning lumber, next section. Seasoning is reducing the moisture content of lumber to the required level for its specific grade and use. Usually people do this, I'm going to try to summarize this here. Usually people do this by stacking planks, and the planks actually have little spacers, so the air pretty much wraps all the way around the piece. And you usually need to store it in these planks for about a year for every inch of thickness. And if that sounds like a long process, it is. So that brings me to this next item here. Lumber can also be kiln dried, and you might have heard of a kiln in your art class where you fire your ceramics. Well, there's also kilns that dry lumber. Now these are much larger, obviously, and they don't reach the same high temperatures because the wood would catch on fire. But it's a way that the drying process can be speeded up without warping the wood. Lumber is kiln dried by placing it in huge ovens where the temperature and humidity can be carefully controlled. When the green lumber is first placed in the kiln, steam is used to keep the humidity high. The temperature, meanwhile, is kept at a low level. Gradually, the temperature is raised while the humidity is reduced. Fans keep the air in constant circulation. Bundles of lumber may carry a stamp to indicate that they have been kiln dried. The letters K.D. mean kiln dried, while P.K.D. stands for partially kiln dried. As you can tell, this would be very expensive process to do, so the wood would be more expensive also. We'll take a pause here.